Before we start, I have to clarify that what we're doing here isn't exactly a true gestural drawing. But I do want you to start to loosen up and get a little feel of the gesture on this. I think when we go to do faces and if we do the whole human body, we're going to do some more gestures. I think that will be good for you guys because I've noticed a lot of you work really tight, and tight work is cute and neat and organized, but it's also okay to get a little erratic. And it's a riskier move to do, but I think it's going to make your work look more energetic and have more of an interesting personality. So what we're doing here is we're starting off with a white sheet of paper and you're toning it like you normally do with the vine charcoal. Make sure that your marks are even and close together. I'm liking using the points of the vine charcoal rather than scraping the side. And then I'm going to go in with the chamois and wipe that down. Now that I have my paper a light shade of gray, I'm going to go in and start with the outline. So because the bug that I'm working on is symmetrical, I'm going to place a vertical line as a vertical axis because I want to make sure that what happens on the left side of the bug is equal to the right, so it's a mirror image. And I'm doing a wasp here, so I'm breaking down the wasp's body shape into the head, the middle part, and then the abdomen or the end part. And wasps have a distinctive kind of figure or curve to them. So I'm paying attention to that and I'm making adjustments. So you can see how that vertical axis is helping me to make sure my proportions are correct to the left and to the right of that vertical line. And I'm making constant adjustments like every artist. I'm making adjustments as I go. So I worked off camera, didn't want to bore you guys. You can see I worked on the outline and I did that all with the vine charcoal. So everything thus far has been with the vine, but you can see I'm switching over to the pencils now and I'm using compressed charcoal and I'm filling in and shading. I have been pretty loose with my drawing, but it's still tight enough where it's not a gesture. You can see I was careful about doing the patterning on the wasp. I thought that patterning was really fun. It's about value and it's about getting some details on your insect. And I'm alternating between the 6B, the 4B, the 2B. And it is really important that you rotate between them, that you understand that the 6B, that's a softer lead, and softer lead equals a darker value. 4B is kind of a in between the 2B and the 6B. Of course, the 2B is the lightest value. So you want to use those in the correct spots. So here I'm using a 4B and a 2B. I have a couple pencils in my hand. As you can see, I worked off camera. I don't think you necessarily need to see me working on filling it in, but there is a variety of values, and I'm looking for that in yours too. So here's the part where we're going to rough it up a little bit. This is what's going to make it a little bit more gestural. And a gesture refers to your stroke, your mark making. This is where I want you to introduce some chaos to it. So instead of being so controlled, try wiping areas out. Try adding material on top. Try going darker in places. If you wipe off something, like I wiped off half the legs, you can put them back in or you can leave them partially out. The idea is to suggest some kind of movement or action happening, and also creating like texture, like a weird textural surface. So it's not just a static image anymore. It has some dimension to it that's interesting and unpredictable. Many of you are so careful that you're afraid to make a mistake. This is your chance to play and make some mistakes. I actually want you to. And it's okay. Most of the stuff, if you have an issue, it's repairable. You can add on top of it. That's part of the beauty of charcoal that you may not realize yet, is that you can go back in, you can wipe stuff out, you can change things as you go. And you can also learn to make a mistake an asset into the piece as long as you incorporate it in some way and have a plan. So I'm playing with different textures. I'm using the side of the compressed charcoal block, not using vine at all. I'm using the blending stump, I'm wiping out, I'm using the brush. I've got all my tools going here. You could even use your hands. You could like slide your fingers through the work, like play with it. So I just want you guys to start moving away from being so tight with your work and so concise that you're not afraid to get a little bit loose. This does require you to get a little bit more mobile in your body. So when I'm doing this, my arms are kind of like going wide. They're doing a little flailing. But I want you to use your body a little bit more. This exercise should be done standing up. It's really important that you are standing up when you're doing it. And you can clip that picture, reference picture, right to your board. Do think about stuff like having your lines disappear, soft edges, hard edges, have limited hard edges, more soft than hard. Think about value shifts, think about texture, think about grit. And you can experiment. I experimented off camera. I used like a spray bottle on one. I took a brush and I dipped it in water. In fact, I tried it on here. You can see me scrubbing it in there. On this paper, it will curl, it will wrinkle, but I was just experimenting. I want you to do that too. I want you to dabble. I want you to experiment and get some expression into your work.